Sergio for Practical Combat with Tengu from the YouTube channel. What's the name?
Tengu Artes Marciales.
Okay, Tengu is a channel that is in Spanish for a Spanish speaker. He's living in Miami. I didn't know. If I would know, we would have trained a lot more.
Yes.
We've been doing a lot of training. We've been practicing low kick blocks. We've been practicing a little bit with the katana. We did some MMA, some sparring. And he has a very interesting style that if any of you speak Spanish, I would recommend you to go to his channel. It's going to be a link on the description. I want to ask him a few questions about his style. I'm going to be showing sparring videos during the week. And first of all, what martial art have you trained?
I have trained like many different martial arts, but the ones that I stay the most with, I started with Aikido.
Okay.
For 3 years, that was my first martial art. Then I moved to Taekwondo, and I did that at the same time with a little of Jiu-Jitsu, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. And I did that for 3 years, Taekwondo. Then I did Wing Chun for another 3 years. And in the meantime, I trained Hailong Gundo, which is Korean sword. And right now, since I came to the United States, I started doing Shotokan Karate.
Okay.
I've been doing that for
Have you ever
almost
fight?
2 years.
This is important because I always ask this question on my channel. Of course, I know you can fight because we're sparring. I know that you're good. But have you ever fight for people?
Yes and no. Like full contact.
One more thing. Speak a little bit louder.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Have that good audio.
Sorry. Full contact fights, amateur fights. No. I have gone to Taekwondo tournaments and 2 Jiu-Jitsu tournaments.
Okay, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, which is like Newasa format,
Which is ground fighting.
Yeah, ground fighting most basically.
Okay.
And but I've had some street fights, especially when I was younger.
Where are you from?
Mexico.
Oh, I heard Mexico is very quiet, no fights, no.
Yeah,
I'm
nobody
sarcastic
there ever fights. It's so
No,
peaceful.
it's crazy. I have family in Mexico. I have said it. I actually crossed the border. I am a mojado. I crossed the Rio Bravo, so you know. So there's a lot of violence in Mexico.
Yeah.
Quick question. Compared to Mexico, the violence you see in Mexico compared to here is nothing, right?
No, actually, like full disclosure, I believe that people live with too much fear in here because they always want to have their guns.
Their gun, yeah.
Not everybody, but I believe like they have this idea of what is going to happen,
Okay.
which is not actually always going to happen, you know? So I rather just live without fear, always on the look, but just live without fear because I come from such a violent place.
Exactly. Compared to Mexico, this is paradise.
Yeah, the thing is in Mexico, like depends where you live, where you go,
Yeah.
but you have to know every time you leave your home, if you're in your cell phone, if you're with your headphones, you might never go back home because there's always someone looking for the weak people.
So you need to have awareness.
A lot.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask you a few things. You don't know about this, so
Okay.
I'm gonna get him involved in my shit. Some people, because I'm very critical about what it works and what doesn't work. You see more or less the way I train, and you that see me in person, and like I said at the beginning, always be open, say what you think, because there is a tendency on internet, because I have done videos saying what I don't like about Aikido. I had a few issues in the past with another YouTuber that was stealing my techniques. And I have a question, you that train with me, do you consider that I'm a bully? Like if I go spar with somebody from the internet,
No.
do you consider I'm gonna be trying to hurt people that spar with me or bad
No.
intentions? Or...
No, on the contrary, I understand maybe why you may come off as aggressive sometimes online. But like I said, I'm from Mexico. We're used to violence. We're used to training
That's
hard.
a problem.
And also, I believe that we will train a bit harder because I'm used to that, you know. But no, it's actually you took a lot of care of me. Like, thank you.
Yeah, you for me too.
You
Same.
could have knocked me out cold.
No. It's not about that. It's just what I'm trying to say is, I believe that you have to have a practical application
Yes.
in what you do, including Aikido. I have to mention this. When we were sparring, I tried to do an Aikido technique, and I almost did it. And I have the glove. And I was telling him, I have practiced some Aikido, actually formal training. I didn't tell you this, I said it on my channel, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
But I'm not an Aikido person, and I will never be. But I think that Aikido and many martial arts, what they're lacking is the practical application. Go and do what we did in a friendly way. So for here, for the future, and I'm sorry I'm using you for this,
No, it's
but
perfect.
I just got in this, I mean, like I got the spark. if I ever invite a YouTuber or another friend to do sparring and you can go back, I have never heard anybody doing, never. It's just that people see, they have this fear, like you said, they live in fear.
Yeah.
And if they're doing martial arts and I'm gonna go to their city and say, hey, let's spar, they take it as a challenge. When I just wanna train like we did.
Yeah. Also, I have noticed this. The longest you train martial arts without applying, at least to some degree, in sparring, free sparring, what you practice, the more afraid you become. Because then you start getting all of these ideas of what fighting is, and they tell you, this is too deadly, this is gonna happen to you, this is gonna happen to you. And sometimes it's, you don't want, like, it's unconscious, but you add up fear.
You block yourself out.
Yes.
The reality.
Yes, and you unconsciously become more and more afraid. Because sometimes, like, when you're trying, for example, the karate Kihon Nippon Kumite, right? When you're doing all of this stuff, you feel like so strong, and I feel like I could break a brick wall with my strikes.
But this is a reality, and I'm gonna let you do it. Do a shoot of hand to the neck, to the chest. I want you to do it hard.
Okay.
That's it. I mean, again, it hurts.
Yeah, and I usually when I do this, I feel like super strong.
However, being honest, if you do it to my neck, most likely I'll be in the hospital. We'll be on the way to the hospital.
Probably, yes.
But people who don't spar, they may feel that and they, it's gonna kill me.
Yes, and also, if you always do this, and when you are in an actual fight, for example, my last fight, I did a push kick on somebody. Because he was very violent, he was trying to assault someone else on the bus, and I kicked him out of the bus. I literally went boom, and he grabbed onto my leg, and I was like, damn, I should have pulled back my leg. Why didn't I think of it? Unless you do it in fighting, like if you don't do practical stuff in your training,
it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work in fighting. And actually, even if you do practical stuff in training, sometimes it's not gonna work in fighting.
True.
So you have to have like a
okay, we're gonna do a video also sparring with the swords. I want, because I like your sparring. Any recommendation for people who want to go into martial arts? What would you recommend somebody who wants to learn martial art for self-defense nowadays?
Okay. For
let's say in the States, because that's where we are right now.
Yes, of course. Oh, that is very important what you said. Someone who wants to learn martial arts for self-defense. Because it's very different if you want it as a hobby, and you might as well be doing yoga, and that is not an insult. I believe that's beautiful. Like if you want to do, for example, karate, you don't want to spar, you don't want to fight, you just want to do the positions and the forms and everything. That's beautiful. I love that, because you're keeping the art alive in some way or another, but you have to understand that it's not self-defense. So if you want to practice self-defense, I have like I guess 4 things that I would say. I talk about this in one of my videos.
Okay.
First of all, you have to have some level of pressure testing.
Okay.
Some level
which
of
is what we did, right?
Yeah, indeed. Some level of pressure testing, some level of sparring, which is also like drills with con resistencia.
Sí, drills with resistance.
Yeah, drills with resistance. That has to be there. Also,
an example of a drill with resistance. We were talking about the chain punch. He has done Wing Chun.
Yes.
And I told him, I know how to do the chain punch. Okay, an example. Do just 3 or 4 movements of the chain punch. That's fine. That looks fine. But there is a problem applying that. I told him, I'm gonna more or less explain you how to do it. And when we were in the sparring, I did a low kick, I blocked a strike, and then I did the chain punch. Did it work?
Yes.
So that's what pressure testing is.
Yeah.
This is drilling. Let's do it to the air. Okay. 1, 2, 3. That's drilling, right? Or I'm gonna throw a strike. Do a back sound. Ready? Do a one sound now. Okay. Do a wood sound. Okay. Perfect. That's practice. But when you're sparring, like shadow, that's when you have to try to do all that. That's pressure testing. That right there is pressure testing.
Exactly.
So that's what we're talking about.
And also, there is also, like, if I may think, you can
go. This is an open interview, bro.
I believe also there is, people need to understand, like, self-defense is not fighting. Because a lot of fighters, especially in our countries, they're like, oh, he does kickboxing or boxing, or he's very good at fighting. That is not self-defense. No. A street fight is not self-defense. Self-defense is not, sometimes you shouldn't even be defending yourself. You have to be smart. You have to avoid the fight.
De-escalation, awareness. Space management. People don't know about that one. Space management. That's a very important one. And then you need to also level of aggression. I don't know if you understand about that.
Yes.
So if an old lady is attacking you, you're not gonna use a multi
Exactly.
technique. That's not self-defense. That's what you were saying, right?
Exactly, yes.
So imagine an old lady attacking you. You're not gonna use a round kick. What you
Yeah.
can do is
And
like a technique for.
exactly. Yeah. Like I have used, for example, Aikido techniques against someone who's drunk. Like sometimes I worked as a bouncer.
Okay.
And this guy was very drunk, right? So he was like on top of this lady, and lady, sorry.
Okay.
He was like on top of her, and I was like, hey man, calm down. As soon as he tried to get aggressive, I just grabbed him like this, and I took him out. Sorry.
Okay.
And I didn't hurt him. I just took him
Level of
outside.
aggression.
Yeah.
Level of
If I
aggression.
only knew
That's
how to,
self-defense.
if I only knew how to punch people, I would have beaten him, and I would have not fixed anything. I would have made it worse. Also, in this fight, everything comes. Kicks, punches, all distance of fighting, ground fighting, weapons. So you cannot say that you are prepared for everything unless you prepare yourself for everything. That's my point of view.
Oh, I have one more question. This is a question from my channel, and I always like to ask people because I think feedback is important, and I need feedback. When people usually see me sparring, when they don't know what they see, it's kickboxing or Muay Thai. Remember?
Yeah.
And when we were sparring, I was telling you this is where Kung Fu comes to the application.
Yes.
You as a fighter, martial artist, how do you feel like the Kung Fu style of applications that I use compared to what people expect? Because we talk a little bit about that. Can you elaborate?
Of course.
On your opinion, this is free, whatever
Yeah,
you
sure.
want to say, what do you feel the difference?
Okay, so from my point of view, of course, if someone on the internet has not trained enough, just see two people with shin guards and gloves and kicking and punching, they would think that's Muay Thai or
Kickboxing.
kickboxing. From my point of view, like, he started using a lot of things that I was not ready for or prepared for or I had never seen, and still they worked. So it's obvious, like you were telling me, like this is from that, this is from that.
Exactly.
You're
in the middle of the sparring, I was
Yeah,
explaining.
he was explaining to me.
Because those are useful concepts that everybody can use.
Yeah, and those are not from kickboxing.
No.
Those are applications from Kung Fu. You did the Wing Chun thing, the Aikido thing, the Bagua.
Mhm.
We did that on the floor just now.
Yeah.
So there's like different levels of application. But like you said, you're not gonna do the forms, everything. It's gonna look so beautiful.
It's gonna look
It's
different.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to understand know the form, know the principles, and they apply it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna look the way you do it. And if I show it to you, it's gonna look the way you do it. And if I show it to another guy right there, it's gonna look the way they do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody is different. You have to use what is useful, and that's it. Anyway, brother, thank you very much. Thank you for helping me out.
No, thanks a lot.
And maybe I'm gonna need your help on the Bagua on the floor
Sure. of
and the
course.
swords.
Awesome.
And guys, check out his channel. And he has cool forms. I see him on the beach with the ball practicing a little bit. And bro, it's an absolute
Hey,
pleasure.
thank you
man.
a lot for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.